So, if you clicked on this video, you're either a Monster Hunter fan, old or new, or a regular who does me the courtesy of clicking on all my stuff, whatever it is about. In either case, I can probably safely assume you'll know about Monster Hunter Rise, and that means you'll more than likely know that the second demo dropped on us yesterday, with just 2 weeks till the full game launches. This demo update adds a third hunt to the two already in the demo, an extreme danger hunt, a hunt against the very flagship monster himself, the Cover Girl, the collector's edition amiibo model themselves, Magnamalo. And oh my god, it's an amazing fight. I've literally never had so much fun in losing a fight over and over and over again as I do in Monster Hunter, and especially against this new Oni mask-faced purple hellfire spewing, so shatteringly fast it may as well be teleportation, wizard beam tail attack beastie Magnamalo. Hello again, I am Blunty. Please bell, sub, comment, thumb, etc. Help with the algorithm, whatever. I live streamed the launch of the demo part 2 yesterday, and I got my ass kicked, and I loved it. Please, Daddy Mistress, may I have another spanking? That is a sentence I've never said before in my life and hope to never say again. Sorry if it made you feel uncomfortable, and even more apologetic if it did something else to you. But I expect this experience in Demo Part 2 will put to bed all those pissy little pretentious Monster Hunter gatekeepers who've been piss-pants whining about Monster Hunter Rise's various changes, specifically some quality of life changes and streamlining stuff. See, they have been complaining that in making Monster Hunter more accessible, easier to learn and understand, more inviting for new players, that Capcom are destroying everything challenging about the game, the stuff that Monster Hunter veterans prize so much. Well, get carted, you whiny little bitches. Magnamalo is here to put you back in your frickin' humble sack, because Capcom have just shown you they know exactly what they are doing. Now, Monster Hunter has always been a high challenge, high skill, pretty unforgiving game. It's one of the many reasons hardcore fans love it so much. But it's not arbitrarily bullshitty cheap difficult like some difficult for difficult sake games can be. No, Monster Hunter just asks that you pay attention to what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you're doing it with and who you're doing it with. It's a beautifully, carefully crafted balance of immersive difficulty, proper difficulty. It invites you to learn, to experiment, and to use your wits as much as brute big number power. And in my limited experience with the title, being that I've only just rolled credits on Monster Hunter World on the PS5 after a couple of different tries getting into it, I'll link to a video explaining that stuff down below if you are interested in my journey through Monster Hunter recently, and as part of my preparation for Monster Hunter Rise. But I still count myself definitely deeply in the newbie class of Hunter. But in that limited experience, I count this as the absolute most fun I've had smashing my splintered bones and bloody corpse against a wall, measured against the likes of Odogaron, Teostra, Black Diablos, and of course Nergigante and Kushaladora, listed in no particular order, all gave me a good smooshing in Monster Hunter World before I was able to claim my victory against them, but not one of them matched the experience and fun that I had with Magnamalo. Magnamalo was like fighting Teostra, but with some Nergigante mechanics and the speed of Odogaron, all smooshed together in one deadly, blurry, purple, spinning dervish of doom. If you're a Monster Hunter newbie, none of that will make any sense to you because you just don't have the context for it, so I'll put it this way. You know when you're facing a final boss in a really good, mechanically sophisticated and satisfying game, and it's asking you to use every single trick the game has taught you to this point, pushing you to the very edge of your skill set, asking for your complete and undivided focus where more than one mistake can mean life or death. A game where, with enough practice and skill, you start to learn the tells and patterns, but the game doesn't rely on preset scripts for set patterns of behavior. There is no stage 1, 2, or 3 where the behavior changes in predictable ways. You literally never know what's coming next and what your next set of engagements will be, so the fight never becomes a boring mechanical script of patterns and procedures that you simply have to memorize. You are always 100% engaged in the process of balancing survival and aggression, and even if you have to do this fight over and over and over and over and over again until you finally get your victory, every single time it feels different. That is what this fight is. In fact, that is what Monster Hunter is in general, but especially exemplified by this particular fight in this particular demo. I don't know if I've ever experienced such a fine-tuned boss fight in all of my decades as a gamer. Now, all of that said, this demo fight is quite deliberately harder than what he'll be like in the game when you get to fight him in the final game. The demo sets an unusually tight time limit for the fight, for example, just 15 minutes. Most hunts in Monster Hunter have a default time limit of 50 minutes, or even 30 minutes, but most single monster hunts for an average player, if you're even moderately skilled, are equipped properly, and are moderately familiar with the foe you're going against and go straight for the encounter, it'll take you 10 to 20 minutes to take it down. Plenty of padding time in that usual 50 minutes. There are multi-monster hunts or challenge quests that play with this, but in general, 50 minutes should be enough for most good hunters to take down their prey. However, in the demo, you only get a choice of preset armor and weapon combos. They're all full armor sets, not carefully resistance balanced mixed sets. There are no special armor skills active, no passive buffs, and your weapons are similarly basic. This is not how you will be equipped when you get to face him in the final game. But what the Monster Hunter team have done here is expertly balance this demo fight. For example, you have just enough armor and HP to survive being one hit if, and only if, you also gather up some endemic life for the health boost they provide. If you don't do this, you're very likely just to be one-shot. So in this, what they've done is to start to reinforce in players just how vital and intrinsic using these single hunt collectible buffs are. They're not just some gimmick to be ignored or picked up if you happen to walk past them. You are going to want to seek these out on your way to the monster, and even sidetrack a bit to make sure you get the most important ones before you engage your monster. These are very carefully designed, deep-rooted mechanics in the game, and this demo is designed to show you that. The same goes for the new monster mounting mechanics. The same goes for the offensive pickups, the elemental beetles, the traps. Every single successful hunt I have seen has required the careful and considered use of nearly every single new tool, new trick, new mechanic and technique the game has to offer and that we've seen so far. They have balanced this demo fight so it is next to impossible to simply slam against the monster with your weapon in basic attacks and get the job done in the time they've given you. Even if you are a superb player, even if you have Neo in the Matrix level reaction dodge skill time, the balance here of armor and weapon and monster mean that the 15-minute time limit just isn't enough time to chip away enough damage to get the job done. Now, I'm sure there's some wildly skilled hunter out there that will see that as a challenge and maybe even get it done. And perhaps some of you are about to send me a link to a video demonstrating that someone has gotten away with it. But again, in every single hunt I've seen from all my favorite high-skill Monster Hunter specialist content creators, none of them have gotten it done without full and skillful and thoughtful use of most, if not all, of the contents of the wonderful bag of tricks Monster Hunter Rise is giving us to play with. You need the advantage of every single support item you can get your hands on that the game gives you, both passive and active and defensive and offensive. Now, in my experience yesterday, I only did multiplayer hunts, and the difficulty scales with multiplayer hunts as well. Partly so I could play with some eager Twitch chat peeps, which is always fun, but also I did some rando matchmaking too, for variety's sake. But I wanted to save my single player attempt for the full game, because I think that first solo run at the end game boss monsters is something to savor, something to anticipate, something you earn, something you build to as you play through the game, something to prepare properly for, something that is foreshadowed. And then you get dick kicked so hard you experience prior lifetimes and then desperately fire off a flare hoping for some high school matchmake player to come in and be your goddamn hero. And then later on, once you've grinded out some better gear, you go back in solo form and get your truest, purest revenge all on your own, because that is what satisfaction tastes like. And well, let's just say I have finally seen what other people have been telling me that they see in Monster Hunter for all these years. It took me a while, it took me a few false start attempts at getting into the game, but I'm there now, and I am hooked. And as I opened with, Magnum Mallow is one of the best boss fights I've ever experienced in any game genre. Even if I never got a win in the demo, for the whole 5 hours I bashed against it while streaming it, learning this fight, learning him, getting just a bit better every time, surviving longer, getting to the point where more than a few times I was the last man standing and experiencing some of the most epically satisfying attack prediction dodging I have ever had in a game. My god, this is a good fight and an absolute prime example of just how good that Monster Hunter development team can be at taking something as simple as hit big monster with comically big weapons until it falls down, and just make it one of the most satisfying ways to fail and die as a gamer, let alone claim victory. Some games make final bosses feel like a miserable grind, something to mindlessly bash against until you finally get your victory. This game makes every monster-shaped wall you bash against an actual adventure in and of itself. Literally, I have never had so much fun in losing a fight, consistently losing a fight, as I do in Monster Hunter. I don't feel frustration. I don't feel the urge to rage quit ever. All I feel is the desire for one more try. I know I can do better next time. I can feel that victory. It's close. I can taste it. I can smell it on the wind. Just give me one more go. I can do better, coach. Put me in. And this particular Oni-faced Hellfire Lion is already at, or at least near, the top of my list for my all-time favorite monsters from the series. Some of which, admittedly, are on my list only because I love their stupid cute everything, not necessarily because they're a particularly fun challenge in the game or an interesting fight in any particular way, but still, Magnamalo is amazing for every reason I have for loving a monster. I'm definitely getting his amiibo. I want a hat with his face on it. I want the t-shirt. Magnamalo is amazing, and this fight is amazing. And the wild thing is, as divisive as gamers can be about this stuff, I haven't heard one single person say they were disappointed by this fight. I mean, name the last time it was so hard to find some contrarian going, "Oh, actually, it's not that good. I found it too easy. I liked this monster better. It's not as fun as so-and-so. I think they could have tried harder. This feels like a lazy monster to me. Even the design..." No, there's none of that this time around. This is a killer monster, and I love it so much. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you to the patrons scrolling up above there. I hope you found this video entertaining, informative, useful, something. I don't know. But, I'm looking forward to hearing from the rest of you about how you felt about this, because, it filled me with all the good brain chemicals. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and we'll catch you next time.